throwing.
I just tried to get Bob to do my intro for the show because he's on here so often that at first I was like, Bob, I'm not even going to introduce you. And then I was like, you know what, Bob, why don't you do the intro? And Bob was like, I don't even like
Instant
doing the
no.
intro on my show. Yeah, he won't
Instant
do it.
no. I hate it. It's
Okay, okay. Welcome to the Frumess channel. I guess I have to do it myself. Welcome to the Frumess channel, everybody. Sorry. It just is what it is. Hold on, I gotta unlock.
Also, do you say welcome to the Frumess channel, or do you say welcome to like 30 Days of Halloween, or like what is the title of this?
I always just say welcome to the show.
Okay. The
always,
show.
Always. Yeah, I just say welcome to tonight's show.
You should say welcome to a show.
Yeah, I mean that's
welcome to a show. It's
but is that not what it is on the Frumess channel? It's just always, hey, what are we talking about today? We're talking about this.
As me and you have discussed
right
extensively.
Right.
Your theme
branding.
You're the theme. Yeah, you're the theme of this channel. There's no the Jeff Frumess is the theme.
It, when you say it like that, it sounds egotistical, but the
logic. No, I don't mean it.
No,
like
I
that.
know you don't. I know you don't. I just mean, hey, what's up, Diggs? How are you? We got a Twitch person. That's rare.
Hell yeah, Twitch.
Cool, Twitch guy.
We're old guys who don't understand Twitch
or person. So. The Frumess. It's just the whole idea is that it's just whatever I'm talking about is the topic of discussion, and that's it.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, right?
It makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me too.
But I'm just saying that me and you have had such extensive conversations.
We have
branding stuff.
Bob and I talk about branding in YouTube worlds for our respective channels all the time.
Because it's all about committing to something, and it's like, I'm struggling. I've struggled with it. You've definitely struggled with it.
I've even said, I've given people bad advice. I had Jason. I was on Jason Horton's show.
Yeah.
And Jason wanted to do the right thing. He's like, I'm going to split my channel into a bunch of different things. And I was like, no, don't. Keep it under all one banner. Wait until your channel is so big that it makes sense to do it. It's just doesn't make any sense. But apparently that's what the algorithm. I was super wrong. That's what the algorithm likes. And I do that in despite of it being the right thing because I want to keep everything under one roof.
Technically, I was doing sort of what you were doing, and now I'm doing the opposite slowly.
Right. I'm staying stubborn by my guns. I think that's why my channel growth is so slow, but so be it. That's just how I do it.
I like your channel. It's not an indictment of your channel. It's an indictment of algorithms. And
I agree. I think this is keep everything under one roof. It is what it is. I've had people, I've been on job interviews. They're like, why? So I see your numbers and stuff, or I show them some of my analytics and they're like, so why do you have such few subscribers? And I'm like, well, look, subscribers is just, vanity metrics. It doesn't really mean anything to have subscribers. You can have higher watch hours than somebody with 10,000 subscribers. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
But two is I tell them that I say, I'm stubborn. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. That's what keeps me from getting burnt out. I like talking about horror movies and I'm getting burnt out just doing the same goddamn thing, doing one review every goddamn day. What was I thinking? So stupid of me.
I mean, that's a lot, man. You podcast more than anyone I know, and I have enough of podcasting just in the little bit I do, and I do more than most people. So
it was a commitment, but you know what? I try to, the great Bob Street. Last thing before we start, the great Bob Street, my God, Dave Street. What am I thinking? Dave Street,
my name,
good friend. Yes. Yeah. My very good friend, Dave Street, who passed away in March or April. He passed away earlier this spring. He was a firm believer and always said it was part of his triangle of success. He said, try to be a man of your word in everything that you do. And if you say you're going to do something, try to follow through and do it. And I don't know why, but since he died, that has stuck with me. And have I done it perfectly 100%? No. But I really try to. I try to do that with my feature-length film. And I'm trying to do that with this. So even though I don't want to, I'd rather just stop. I said I was going to do it. I'm going to see it through to the end because that's what I said I was going to do. And I feel like that's a good way to live your life. So some advice from Dave.
The end of a YouTube channel is a very weird thing too. Like, when does it end? When's it over? The end of a movie makes sense. A movie ends.
Right.
But a YouTube channel, that could be.
Well, I don't mean the end of a YouTube channel. I mean the end of the. I said I was going to do
this thing.
No, I said I was going to do 31 movies in 31 days.
Oh, I thought you meant the Frumess YouTube
channel. No, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll get sick of it and I'll stop. I don't mind. Here's the thing about that. Last thing, super last thing, swear to God. I don't think that counts, when you walk away from something like that.
It doesn't count as failure.
It's not failure, and it's not giving up. As long as you as long as the spark lives on within you, and as long as you put that spark into whatever it is that you're doing, that is not giving up. Giving up is when you cease to do anything at all. Sometimes you hit a brick wall, or sometimes you can't move forward in a direction that you're going, and you have to pour your energy into something else. As long as you're doing the action of pouring your energy in, that's what's important. And that's the life value. It has nothing to do with,
you're allowed to quit things. You're allowed to quit things and start new things.
I don't even want to call it quitting. I prefer to say I'm walking away. I'm making a choice to walk away.
No, end things. You're allowed to end things. Ending and quitting are two separate things.
Sure. Yes, like that. Ending. Right.
You're allowed to end things.
Some bands just end. Some bands, they just end. They say,
we're calling it quits. To go, and it's over.
We're going to call it quits. And I love that.
Right.
Okay. Exorcist III. Bob has been.
Well, this is a great segue, because we're talking about me being on the channel. And the last time I was on the channel, we did the best third horror movie in a franchise.
Oh, and I brought
this up. I mean, literally the last time I was the second to last time I was on your channel.
You start then. You start, because you didn't get to say what you wanted to say, because I hadn't seen it yet. Go ahead.
Right. I was saying we did the best third movie in horror franchises, and we did our top 5 of that. And I brought up Exorcist 3, and then every time we've ever brought up Exorcist, Jeff, you have always noted, I'm saying this so you don't have to say it a 50th time, is that because of your upbringing and you're Jewish, The Exorcist never really appealed to you in the way it might have appealed to me, I was raised Irish, Italian, Roman Catholic. It's very hardcore in my upbringing that The Exorcist affects. So you also said that you don't like possession that much as a premise. You said that before, right? So I brought up Exorcist 3, and I said, look, I know there's all these things I know that you've said a million times. You're Jewish, you're not that into possession, but I was like, Exorcist 3, there's more to it than just that. There's more to it. And I kind of told Jeff, I was like, give it a chance. You don't need to watch Exorcist 2. Everyone pretty much agrees with that sentiment. There's probably a few outliers, like there always is. But Exorcist 2, story-wise, has literally nothing to do with anything. And all you really need to know going into 3 is that George C. Scott is playing the cop from the first movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, he is. He's playing what's his name?
Okay.
He's playing Kinderman from the first movie, and that really doesn't affect the enjoyment of the movie.
Not at all.
Not at all. And obviously, Father Karras returns. In a certain way, but
okay. Full spoilers on a 32-year-old movie. Go ahead.
Right. So Exorcist 3 is obviously it has a very storied history of being a troubled production. What I know about it is that William Peter Blatty he wrote the book Legion,
right?
And he wanted to make a movie just called Legion that really wasn't any type of actual sequel to The Exorcist. But then the studio stepped in and was like, this is called The Exorcist 3 now. And you're making The Exorcist 3. And he was like, I don't really know everything, but I know that he didn't really want it to be The Exorcist 3 because he hates Exorcist 2. So he's making a movie that's literally acknowledging there's a second movie in the title.
The Exorcist Legion, or you just call it Legion.
The studio, this was their demand is it's Exorcist 3. And he notoriously, I mean, I don't know if you know this, Jeff, but
no, I don't.
Me and Jeff both have watched. I've seen this movie, but we've both watched the theatrical cut on Shudder. It's currently streaming on Shudder, but there is a director's cut.
Oh, I wish I saw the
No,
director's
so
cut.
the director's cut is available, I think, only on physical media. But the director's cut, Jeff, the director's cut is only filled in with a VHS tape that is the last remaining footage of what they added in. So it
That's
looks like
bittersweet.
it looks like a VHS. So the difference here is, before we get into opinions and stuff, if I can explain,
Sure, please, please.
if you didn't know this, Jeff, basically the original movie does not end with any exorcism. So he wanted to make a movie called Legion, which is about Kinderman, the cop from the
Right.
original story, and it did not have anything to do with an actual act of an exorcism. The studio basically said, "You're making Exorcist 3 now. That's the name of the movie, and now you have to go back, and we need to do it. We need to put an exorcism into the ending." So
That
he
makes me
went,
love this movie. I just want to say that makes me love this movie that much more. I
"Oh
love
yeah,
the
yeah,
movie
no, it's
more now. Go
it
ahead.
really."
Keep
So
talking.
yeah, like So, and I honestly, if I'm honest here, anyone listening, I prefer the theatrical cut vastly to the director's cut, even though I respect the director's cut, because the director's cut basically ends, Jeff, without an exorcism. It ends. The reason the director's cut you need to see it is because it has the full performance of Brad Dourif in that last scene.
You're telling me that wasn't full? I mean,
There,
that
there's
guy.
more. There's more
Oh,
Brad Dourif, and he's just as good the entire time. He's an
wow.
incredible. He's an incredible. It's an incredible performance, and it's all on VHS. So, but it basically ends, spoiler alert, it ends with George C. Scott basically just executing Brad Dourif with a gun. Very anticlimactic, but it kind of fit with with what he was going for. Like, like George C. Scott has had enough, and he just kills him and walks out of the cell and basically accepts the consequences for murdering an inmate. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of the very. There's no flashing lights. There's no insanely awesome visuals like this has, like the theatrical cut. So basically, here's the only thing. If I had to criticize The Exorcist 3 for what happened, for what I'm talking about, is William Peter Blatty was given money to go back and go all out to shoot this giant exorcism, crazy ass scene in that cell, which is awesome. I love that whole sequence. I grew up watching that sequence. But the only thing that's weak to me, and I don't, it's fine, I can live with it, is Father Morning, who is the exorcist himself. It's a guy that we see in one unconnected scene in the beginning, and then he just sort of shows up at the end to start the exorcism off.
Right. Yeah. He seemed to come out of left
He
field.
come out of left field.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's the thing is, I love so much of this movie, and I love this movie so much, I'm willing to forgive the obvious reshoot that's just pushed this other priest into the movie. Like, it's the weakest part of the movie is Father Morning. But I don't care. Like, I still love this movie dearly.
I have, having made 2 features myself that both required reshoots or deviating from the written
I mean, you
word.
literally made a movie based on another movie that you didn't make. So yes,
Right. So
this is,
my point is the reason why I'm bringing that up again, this is like the 3rd time I've brought my work into a review, but only because I really feel like it qualifies in the situation. Right. And I feel like the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I understand and I am entirely forgiving, and not even knowing that.
Jeff, if you have money men telling you too, it's even more stuff that's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Although I think this is the one time where I think the studio was, I feel like the studio was right.
Jeff, like, I've watched YouTube reviews of this movie because I love watching movies like this get reviews by with new eyes. And a lot of them were like, yeah, Legion, the director's cut was good, but the theatrical cut was awesome. That ending is so epic and badass. It's like they were kind of right. I hate to say it.
Listen, I'm glad that both exist. I always want there to be the alternate cut of whatever, because I don't want any art to be stifled. However, there are it's funny, not even knowing that and just seeing that dude randomly appear, I've become very accepting of things because I just know when you're telling the story, sometimes you just again, I was talking about this with Spookies actually in the Spookies review, and we're going to be having hopefully very soon producer and affiliated with both Spookies and Street Trash, the dude Frank. What's his last name? I forget his last name. He's gonna be coming on the channel. I can't wait.
That's very cool.
Them. That's gonna be really cool. But the thing I was saying about Spookies in the review is that Spookies absolutely feels like 3 different movies, which it turned out to be. It was 3 different like movies. Yeah. But what made, not knowing that, I didn't know that going in, so I'm watching it. It's amazing how you can make something work by juxtaposing. Juxtaposition is literally it's the simplest form of editing or story editing, where there's no explanation given. You are putting 2 images or 2 concepts next to each other and then forcing your audience to figure out why they are connected.
It's kind of the Kushlov effect, right? Whatever
that
is.
Yes, yeah. To an extent. Yes. And the idea and juxtaposition, to quote Elric Kane's terminology, it's pure cinema. Like it really is, though. I mean, that is literally what cinema is all about. It's about, that's how you get metaphor. Look at Lars von Trier in Nymphomaniac, like the way that he, inserts these random images of wildlife, when talking about, fornication
Terrence
things.
Malick does that kind of thing too.
For sure. And the point being that you can do that. There's no rules. You can do that, and it totally will work for better or for worse. And I just saying that I become more accepting of this idea of juxtaposition. So to see this random priest, I see a guy dressed like a priest. I don't even remember him earlier in the movie, but he's there to do an exorcism. I go, okay.
No. If I
there we go.
Jeff, if I wanted to like film school justify the priest being there, I would say that this story we're watching is the story of Kinderman, George C. Scott, and the Exorcist is not the main focus of the movie. So so he's just like a sideline character that just serves a functional purpose.
Totally.
To George C. Scott's story. He is just there to move a puzzle piece to end the movie.
You are absolutely correct. And Kevin, I actually agree with you. This was going to be my surmisation of everything.
I already knew this. Yeah,
I'm going to get into a lot of trouble here.
I don't actually prefer it, but I was expecting Jeff to prefer it. Hence why I recommended it.
Hence
why I recommended it.
Yes, I think I prefer.
You know why, Jeff? You know why I knew you would prefer
to the first.
I know you would prefer it because it's a detective story. And it's a serial killer story. And I was like, with those elements added in, I felt like, because the first one is a bare bones, it's singular possession.
Right.
But with those other elements, I was like, Jeff will like this for several reasons.
What makes my favorite part of The Exorcist by far is when Father Damien, whatever, when he gets possessed and throws himself out the window. That, I mean, obviously that's the climax of the movie, but I
was going to say that's the
climax, that kernel is what like made me love the original Exorcist, because I was going like, whoa,
like self-sacrifice.
Yeah, just like all of that stuff. And then, Exorcist 3 Exorcist 3 functions as a direct sequel, in my opinion.
It is.
It's a direct sequel to The Exorcist.
It shouldn't be called Exorcist 3. It just shouldn't be.
And you know what it is? It is if anything,
it's Legion.
It's Legion, and Legion can function as a feature-length epilogue to The Exorcist. And, it is interesting. And again, I can't really...
The fact that you didn't know it was the cop is hilarious.
Yeah,
it gives him so much more like him not believing in God and not understanding what's going on.
He's just a friend. I thought he was just a friend of the like priest dude.
He witnessed the events of the first movie from the outside.
Wow,
and still doesn't understand.
So much better. It's so good.
To him, all he knows is either someone jumped out that window and killed themselves, or someone was pushed out that window and killed themselves.
But he gets the full explanation from the Gemini killer. It's great.
Right.
Basically the story, what happens is, and it's very, again, talk about like just
weird,
weird, quirky, creativity. Blatty, I thought it was Blatty. What did you call him? Blatty or Blotty, or what's his last name?
I think it's Blady.
I thought it was Blatty. I'm going to call him Blatty. I like Blatty.
He's only directed 2 movies, and both of them had to do with The Exorcist, because his other one, which I need to watch, is called The Ninth Configuration.
Oh yeah.
And apparently that has connections to the original Exorcist too. So after this movie, he never directed anything again.
That's
But
like what's his face from The Wicker Man, Robin, whatever his face is. He also directed, Robin Hardy directed The Wicker Man. He directed The Wicker Tree, and that was about it. And that's a sequel remake that is 40 years separate, and it's great. I love The Wicker Tree. Big fan of The Wicker Tree. Terrifying movie to me. Far more terrifying.
The Wicker Man too. Like
Wicker Man is great, but there is a scene. Spoilers: if you haven't seen this movie, just skip over this. But there is. Well, haven't seen it either, Bob? Have you?
I haven't seen it. No.
Well, I won't say it. There's a scene in there.
At the degree to which I love the Wicker Man. I mean, not the Nick Cage. Nick Cage one is fine for its own reasons.
Yes,
it's hilarious.
Oh, we could do a whole meditation on that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But I love the original Wicker Man. Is formative for me.
It's great.
I rented it based on that fucking VHS box, and I had no clue what I was getting into. And then
nice. So you didn't. I had the twist was spoiled for me.
I didn't know.
A long time ago, but the Wicker Tree. Funny enough, the Wicker Tree is really kind of like I watched Midsommar, and I was kind of like, whoa, this is kind of siphoning off a lot of the Wicker Tree a little bit.
I'm sure that was
a little
definitely.
bit. But Wicker Tree has a scene, one of the most terrifying death scenes I have ever seen in a movie, like truly terrifying to me. I wasn't expecting it at all. It was shocking, much like the Exorcist III, which is the scene everybody talks about. That was actually far more underwhelming. It was very good, but it was underwhelming.
You mean the hallway scare?
Yeah, the hallway scare didn't scare me at all. It wasn't. I mean, it's more
jarring. It's more about construction, like the construction of the scene, how it's pulled off. The first time you watch it, I thought
it is freaky.
It is freaky. What freaks me out? I mean, as a kid, I watched this as a kid. Now, can I just say, you know what the scariest part for me is by far.
What?
Now, remember, Jeff, Catholic, raised Catholic. Okay.
Right.
The scariest part for me is literally in the first 2 minutes when it shows. I can't even watching it like yesterday or today. I was like, oh, please. When it shows the crucifix and Jesus's eyes open, I can't do it. Every time the way it stares right into the screen at you, I can't do it. When the eyes open,
that's a Pavlovian response, right?
Well, because as a kid, when you're in church and you stare up at the crucifix, whenever you stare at a statue to some degree, you're always waiting for the moment that it's going to move. You know what I mean? And it's like the Exorcist III gave my childhood nightmares of the crucifix actually staring back at me. Like, and the way that it's shot, there's like, it cuts away and then it cuts back to Jesus just staring right at the screen again. I'm always like, oh God, make it stop. Make it stop. Right. That shot kills me. And also, of course, when I was a kid, nothing scared me more than the woman crawling on the ceiling.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was freaky. Yeah, that came out of nowhere. I'm watching this movie. I mean, even just as like a serial killer detective procedural with George C. Scott, and every word that he says kind of reminds me of Ringo Starr's drums on Abbey Road. They're so filling and wholesome. Like I just could listen to that man read a phone book and just like,
even if the movie was a disaster, he saves it. You know what I mean? Like,
the best part, I mean, the best conversation in that whole movie is the fish when they're talking about the carp in the bathtub and how he hasn't bathed in 3 days. I mean, the crafting of that scene for someone who's only directed one other movie, it's just a masterful scene, man. It's just so good.
There's so much in this movie where you're like, what did we lose by not having Blatty do more? Like, you know what I mean? There's so much in this movie. The atmosphere, even when the opening of the movie, the doors shut open and the wind blows in.
Yeah.
It shows you all these like beautiful inserts of the church. I was like, this is a man who knows how to direct a movie.
He does.
And he's an author. He's an author. Like it's good, man. It's really good.
Well, this is, we always talk on the channel about like show, don't tell, but I would actually argue that this is like a great example in screenwriting where you can tell without showing, and it's just excellent. And it's really with Brad Dourif basically explaining all of this stuff that we don't see. He's just explaining why
how he's here.
How he's here.
Yeah.
And it's such, you know what it is? It's just high concept, low budge, man. It's just high concept, low budget. We're not seeing all this happen. We're not seeing any demons. We're not, like, think about all the opportunities that one could have shown if one wanted to.
It's also tasteful, like, you know what I mean? It shows gore when it needs to, but like, and it shows some awesome
Yeah, it is.
gore in this movie.
It's grisly.
Like I wouldn't want to see the child be killed. You know
The
what I mean?
dream. Oh my God, the dream sequence with everybody's heads like sewn back on. But you know, what's great, what could have really worked in that scene. Here's a missed opportunity 32 years late for the dude who wrote something greater than I'll ever write in my measly life. Okay.
Right.
Just want to clarify that. Missed opportunity from an audience perspective. You know, as he's talking about Pazuzu, his friend, he doesn't even say the word Pazuzu. He just says my friend, which I just love that. I thought that was so good. We know who you're talking about. You don't have to say the thing's name. Why not cut to like sort of like Edwardian Victorian etchings, like old school, like 18th century wood etchings of, like, you know, demons and possession or something that could have been, you know, put over it. That could have been an interesting touch as well.
I'm sure he'd have an answer for you, or it would have just been
he would have just he just would have said, no, that's not my vision, and shut the fuck up. But you know,
or he would have said, I literally hate the studio and this needs to end.
Yeah, he'd be like, look, studio. he would say, look, the studio is as sticky as it is.
Right.
And you know what else sticks?
Stickers.
Stickers stick. And Riot Stickers is the sponsor of the channel. I thought that would be a cool dramatic sort of thing if I threw the stickers.
Only if you cut, you got to throw it and then cut instantly.
You're right. All right, it didn't work. riotstickers.com. We got stickers coming out of our ears. These are UV coated stickers that are printed on vinyl. They are waterproof. Get your image. If you have a brand, if you have an image, get it printed on riotstickers.com. We're going to do some in-camera special effects. Riotstickers.com. Look at my face in the moon face. Riotstickers.com. Get this thing right there.
So
riotstickers.com. Yes, it's like South Park. riotstickers.com. We're doing a special promotion. This is a crazy promotion, people. Do you know what we're doing? 1,000 stickers for $79. Do you realize how insane that is? 1,000 stickers for $79. That is 7 cents per sticker. You can't go wrong with 7 cents per sticker. You just can't. It is too good of a deal to pass up. Look at the banner they printed behind us. You can only get that deal on this channel with this link. We don't have any promo codes anywhere. You just go to riotstickers.com/Frumess, F-R-U-M as in Mary, E-S-S, just like this channel, and you could get stickers. Let's play the sick and sound.
We make stickers, banners, and buttons too, posters and promo cards. There's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads, we can print on shirts. We can print on hats, we can print on pants, cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. Riotstickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
I'm a ride sticker. I'm a motherfucker coming for you. I'm a space invader. I'll be your rock and roller sticker too. Keep your mouth shut. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, we're talking about The Exorcist Part 3, Exorcist 3. Exorcist 2 doesn't exist. So this really is Exorcist 2. We could piss off a bunch of horror fans by just saying, oh, you mean Exorcist 2? And people will get
I knew a guy who worked on a movie with me who said his favorite movie of all time was Exorcist 2, The Heretic. And when he said it, I was like, really? And he's like, absolutely. And I was like, you're not trolling me. He's like, no, why would I be trolling you? And I'm still to this day kind of like, maybe he was trolling me. But
he might have been trying to get a rise.
You know what? Everything has every movie is someone's favorite movie. So
As well as Halloween Resurrection might be someone's favorite horror
Yes.
movie.
Sure, why not?
People love Busta Rhymes, so it's
Busta Rhymes' favorite Halloween movie is probably Halloween Resurrection, or even he would probably say the first one.
No, I don't know if he would, but
I never even thought about what my favorite Halloween movie is. Like, I've seen every Halloween movie, and I'm fine with them, but I've never cared enough nor been asked. So I like never really
I have
about it.
never cared to rank them. I always just say Halloween 3 is my favorite. However, I will say, and I could tie this back into Exorcist 3. First of all, the Exorcist 3 is, well, let me lead into Exorcist 3. I'll say my thought about whatchamacallit. What's up, John of Steel from Voice of Doom?
Now we're talking.
Voice of Doom has a show at the Parkside Lounge.
He's got Halloween 3 in his profile pic.
He sure does. They have a show with Robbie Bloodshed at the Parkside Lounge, October 29th in Manhattan. Check it out. It's going to be a rad, wicked good time. Check it out. Voice of Doom. We love them here. And that's John of Steel. What I was going to say is, going back to our conversation about third sequels, which, by the way, we have to do another. I'm in November. We'll wait for November. We're going to do another banger of a list. I don't know what it's going to be. We're going to do a good list.
Or sequels.
Yeah. Right. It's exactly what a third sequel should be, in my opinion. It does something fresh. It does something new. It does something you're not expecting. It does something that gives a franchise legs to keep going if it wanted to. These are all the things that make a good third sequel, in my opinion. And a lot of the movies we spoke about work very well. Sans maybe Scream 3 is actually more of a final film, as we discussed. And, maybe a few others. Day of the Dead is pretty final
there's
as
also,
well.
A lot of people forget there's also like 2 other Exorcist movies outside of the initial 3. And that's when they're both re-edits.
Yeah.
But then there's also the TV show, which I haven't watched.
I haven't seen any of that stuff, and I really don't have any interest. When they said they were doing a 4th Exorcist movies, and they had like the dueling Exorcist movies, it was
Paul Schrader versus Rennie Harlan.
I don't even know. I mean, it is worth exploring that history. I'm sure it's been done before on YouTube. I am fascinated to know, like, look back. I remember when it was all in the news, and I could give a shit.
I was interested because I actually love The Exorcist quite a bit. So, and obviously 3. So I cared, but
yeah,
H3, E3, my 2 faves. I did care, but in the end, I think both of those movies are lesser for all the stuff that happened.
Yeah, even now, having seen Exorcist and Exorcist 3, like, I don't have any interest. I guess I'll see Exorcist 2 at some point. And I guess
Exorcist 2 can totally have happened in the yeah, it's really laughable.
Says it's so bad, it's great, laughable if you don't take it seriously. That's now you've given me a reason, John.
Oh, dude, it's funny.
Watch it.
It's funny. Yeah, okay. I mean, like, because you're the whole time you're like, what were they thinking? And the sad part is they used, like, she came back for it.
Yeah, Linda Blair came back.
Whatever. The real Exorcist sequel is obviously Repossessed, starring Leslie Nielsen.
Right, of course.
Which is, as a kid, I was
with
like,
Linda Blair as well, right?
I think I saw Repossessed more than I saw any of these movies as a kid.
You know what else is great? I haven't due for a rewatch on Dracula Dead and Loving It. I haven't seen that in years.
I'm probably the biggest Dead and Loving It fan you know.
Wow.
Like, literally, I love that fucking movie.
It's been years since I've seen it.
People hate that movie, but you know what?
Oh, I saw it twice in the theaters.
Yeah. Me and my friends still quote it. We used to watch it at my video store, like, literally every 2 days. Like, it would go in constantly.
You know what's funny? When you just said that, I just got like such a nostalgia shot of like video stores, hanging out in a video store, watching movies, just clerking. Yeah, I
mean, I did manage a video store, a mom and pop video store.
I know this. Right. And I mean, God, those were the days. Those really were the days.
It's nice to know that. It's nice to know that your reasonable dream job no longer exists.
It's it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. This is kind of like, podcasting is like basically that without being in a
clerking.
video store or
Yeah.
clerking. Like that's literally what
Jeff,
this is.
You know what I miss, or what's crazy is like I managed that store from like 2003 to 2007.
Yeah.
Or 2009, I can't remember. But for a long time, whenever I would go out to the movies and stuff, people would literally just go, "Movie Time Video Guy," and they would give me high fives and shit. Like people would recognize
So
me.
you
Just
had a
from my
brand.
years.
So you had a
It
brand.
wasn't even a brand. They just recognized me and they were just like happy to see me. Like I always said, like the video store back then was a little bit like a bar on Friday night or something. Like people would go, sad people that are lonely, looking to just talk to somebody, find something that would make them forget about their problems. And they would talk to you and you know about them. And like, so a lot of those customers, like I had, they were like friends, and I miss that.
Question. I'm trying to remember in Exorcist III, Father Joseph Dyer, is he in the original Exorcist as well?
Yes, he is. Father Dyer is the priest that is giving the last rites to Father Karras as he's lay dying at the bottom of the steps. It's the same character.
He's running up.
It's the same character. It's just a different actor who does such an amazing performance in this movie. I really love his
Again, that carp scene. And again, for people who don't know, so what you do, I mean, Bob could explain this better than me, being our in-house Italian. Bob, can you explain what the fishes are? The feast of the fish and the carp in the bathtub and everything? You don't know?
No.
Do you not know, or you just don't want to explain it?
I know. I know about it, but I can't give you any other details.
Okay, so again, and Bob, please, being the resident Italian, please feel free, or anybody in the audience, to
I'm like an Italian from America.
Doesn't matter.
It's like not.
I'm not Italian. This is not my tradition, so I don't. Right. I'm speaking out of the side of my neck right now, and if anybody has a better understanding of it, please.
I mean, I can
correct me. From my understanding, the Feast of the Fishes, or you have your fish feast around Christmas time, and what you do is you eat a carp, but the problem is you got to clean the carp. So what you do is you let the carp sit in your bathtub for 3 days so that it cleans out its system.
Right. And so it's not breathing bad water.
Not breathing bad water, but also, getting all the poop out of its butt and everything. Like you're cleaning the fish, and it keeps the fish fresh and alive. So then you kill it right before you have your fish feast, or feast of the fishes, or whatever, however it works. And the way it was referenced in Exorcist, the way I took it was, and the reason why it was such a brilliant conversation is because I took it being that this was like a movie about Christian things and Christian traditions and whatnot, that they were talking about this Italian feast of the fishes, and that's what the carp was in reference to, which made it better.
His disdain for the carp and the feast, it goes with how he feels about religion, at that time in the movie,
Yes. And John says the first Exorcist excellent character in 3. The dialogue between Dyer and Kindred is classic.
So Jeff, those are the two characters from the original, just different actors completely.
Gotcha. So that was a little confusing.
The original Kinderman had passed away, and I don't know if William O'Malley played Father Dyer. I don't know if he's still alive, but by then I don't know if he was still alive. But
Jason Miller was in the original Exorcist, and his son is in a ton of stuff. His son acted in some really great cult classics in the late half of the 80s, early 90s. He's in Near Dark.
Yep.
He's in one of my favorites, friggin' Meet the Hollowheads. He's in Meet the Hollowheads. He's in
a movie that I can't believe you've seen. That's insane.
When are we going to do the commentary on that? That's a movie we got to do a commentary on.
I just can't believe somebody else knows about Meet the Hollowheads.
I'm obsessed with Meet the Hollowheads. You know who directed Meet the Hollowheads, right?
We talked about it.
He only did that was his only film as a director. He's a special effects guy, and he worked on all the Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh, very cool.
Under Arthur
I used to rent that from the library.
That's crazy. That is so crazy.
So Jason Miller is the only actual actor to appear from the original. Like the other ones are just characters.
But he's such a good. I mean, it's so
he
cool
wouldn't have been in it had the studio not forced them to reshoot the ending. He wouldn't have been even in it.
Oh, so he was also inserted in there.
He's it. So they basically, yes, that whole ending sequence was added,
but he's in there
later.
earlier too. So actually, it's Brad Dourif who is the transient, who's in there, and then they just sort of see. This is the beauty of filmmaking.
No, it was Brad Dourif was everything in the original cut.
Right, but
He
my point is that through the pure cinema action of juxtaposition, they smash cut from Damian Karras to the Gemini killer played by Brad Dourif, and we're supposed to understand that Brad Dourif isn't actually really there, that he really did die in 1975. Basically,
it's his soul. It's his soul.
He's the Charles Lee Ray of The Exorcist. That's literally what he is.
So once again, Brad Dourif is playing a serial killer who is inhabiting the body of something else. Yes.
He did that twice in 1990.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's incredible.
It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
How does Brad Dourif not just have an Oscar at this point?
Basically, the tweet that I'm going to compose when we get off this.
Have you ever
Twitter,
seen, Jeff?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Graveyard Shift?
Yes. Many years ago.
Brad Dourif's performance in Graveyard Shift.
That was also, I think that was 91 or something, right? That was really early.
I'll look it up.
The tweet that I'm going to compose after this is that The Exorcist III is the child's play of the Exorcist franchise.
What?
That's literally what I'm going to say when I get off here.
Make it more confusing. Say Exorcist 3 is the child's play 2 of the Exorcist franchise.
Why child's play 2? Why?
I feel like Child's Play 2 is the best beloved sequel out of all of them.
That's true, but because it's a sequel as well.
Graveyard Shift was 1990.
Oh, so he did three bangers for Brad Dourif in 1990. That's also around the time he did Spontaneous Combustion. That might have been 89.
I'm just saying, Brad Dourif's career is so storied at this point.
Just a body of work, man.
Literally, if I listed my top 5 favorite actors of all time, Brad Dourif is on it. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Like, I don't know if he'd be in my top and all that, but then mind you,
I'm telling you this has nothing to do with this episode. I would have said that.
He goes all the way back to Cuckoo's Nest in the 70s.
He's Billy Babbitt. Yeah, he makes the movie. Yeah,
I mean, what happens to him is what
it's
all the final action.
And also, I mean, I say this, I've told you on my last episode, Chucky's my favorite 80s horror franchise. So I'm a pretty big fan of Brad Dourif. Let's just say that. So Exorcist 3 is just on another building block of my love for Brad Dourif of my childhood.
Yeah, that's right. Fabio plays an angel, and Patrick Ewing is the angel of death.
Yes.
Wait, Patrick
it's super
Ewing?
weird. It's super weird.
Wait a minute. Not the Patrick Ewing. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
Patrick Ewing from the Knicks is the angel of death in Exorcist 3. What the fuck? Dude, I met Patrick Ewing twice.
There's so much about
That's my favorite fact about The Exorcist now.
I'm just saying there's so much about Exorcist 3 that is supremely odd and supremely interesting. There's so much craft in it, but there's also much weirdness in it.
Those scissors are the jaw scissors. I mean, they are just so, what's funny? We don't ever really see them get used, but it's it's
all Tarantino. It's off screen.
It's all psychological though. It's the idea that this is what this instrument does. This is how it does it. We don't need to show you the after effect, or we don't need to show it. We're going to just imply it. And it's so effective. And it really speaks to, the idea of like, if you're like making a really low budget film, like a really, really low budget film, and you don't have money to do gun effects, you should never show a gun firing if you're making a low budget film. Like truly, in all honesty, you can have someone holding a gun. You can have someone threatening with a gun, but don't show the gun. Right. Of course. But don't show the gun firing, and don't show anybody getting shot. Like, just don't do it. If you can't do it right. And I feel like that's sort of tandemly in line with the idea that Blatty uses these jaws. We got Rue Morgue in the house tonight. Wait, what? He says, okay, Rue Morgue is saying that Samuel Jackson.
Is he?
Holy shit. Here he is on the Wikipedia. Samuel L. Jackson is the blind dream man. So this movie also features Samuel L. Jackson. He's the dude
And
with
so
the
this was
radio.
1990. So this was like not long after Coming to America.
Yeah. So Samuel L.
But,
Jackson,
Samuel Jackson had
very
to Coming to
started.
America. He's like the robber in Coming to America.
Right.
And then 2 years later, he's in The Exorcist 3.
That is so funny, man.
Also, I want to say I had to actually double check the Patrick Ewing thing because I was sure of it. But if you go to his IMDb, the only man that has the first two movies he's known for as Space Jam and Exorcist 3. What a fucking career, man.
I gotta tell you, I love me some Space Jam.
I do love Space Jam. Right.
That's just pure 90s deliciousness.
That's the Patrick Ewing double feature right there.
Oh my god. Holy shit, the Patrick Ewing double feature, Space Jam and fucking Exorcist 3. Oh, that is just
I would absolutely go to a theater to watch that on the big screen.
Yo, Samuel L. Jackson is 73 years old. Like, it kind of blows my mind that dude, first of all, he doesn't look 73 at all.
He doesn't.
And he doesn't feel 73. He feels eternal to me, actually. Samuel L. Jackson does. And he's made enough movies now. Oh my God.
If I'm saying if, because there's a possibility I believe that he may never die. But if he ever dies, it's actually gonna make me not just cry. It's gonna make me feel like the world is upside down, because
it's gonna make us feel like when Robin Williams died.
Yes, it's like there's certain celebrities where they're just cornerstones. They're people you hang on to throughout media. You know, like,
you know what you have to take solace in? You have to take solace that you got to share the earth at the same time as them.
Samuel Jackson.
And because of you, there's very possible think about all the humans that didn't get to share the earth with Samuel L. Jackson or
Jeff,
Robin Williams. We're lucky. We're lucky.
Funny story. In my early 20s, I was in a 6-year relationship, and we started talking about marriage, right? This is probably one of the reasons we didn't get married. But she was like, I think it would be really cool of you if you asked for my father's hand, my hand for my father's for marriage, right?
Right.
And I said, doesn't that seem a little regressive? I was like, how about this? I'll ask Samuel L. Jackson if it's okay if I marry you, and if he says yes, I'm totally fine with it.
Did you do that?
No, but she just got absolutely pissed at me for saying.
Yeah, I was like, that was not the right thing to say.
No,
Bob.
It wasn't. I said it was. This was over 20 years ago, but
right.
But I just remember distinctly being like, if Samuel Jackson says we can get married, then we can get married. And that was then. And now this is before he was Nick Fury. This is before.
Right. That's
then.
how much. That's the emphasis on
how big he's been for how long.
He has been big he was big when I was 25, and I'm younger than you. So
right. Well, for me, it was like
a long time ago.
For me, it wasn't my Samuel L. Jackson. I like that this is relevant because he's in the movie. For me, before I got into all of his more notable roles, for me it was Die Hard 3. Like, as a kid, Die Hard 3 was on all the time, and I loved it so much.
That was a big movie, and now they're doing Die Hard with a Santa Claus. If you could,
right? But that's not. I mean, it's not a Die Hard movie, though.
No, what it is it's a Die Hard is now no longer just a movie. Die Hard is a genre.
It's a genre.
It's a genre. It literally is. You can start like Kevin Smith. He wanted to make Die Hard in a mall. That's what Mallrats was originally supposed to be, or something like that. So it's like, it's this idea. Yeah, or like even Jaws. Jaws or Alien is also well, we talked about that. There are things that predate Alien, but
Kevin Smith had a name for those movies. He's like the movies where movie reviews would use them to describe what you're getting into. It was like Die Hard, Speed, The Matrix. Like, sure. Well, yeah, I'm saying, but like the movie reviews would be like, it's Speed in an elevator, or it's The Matrix crossed with Die Hard. Like, there's certain movies that are so like indelible that you use them to describe movies.
They are, how about this? They are the 20th century version of the 7 stories from ancient Greece, right? Because the idea is that really really, supposedly, all stories are actually just two stories, technically speaking. It's man, I think it's man versus man and man versus self or something. But then
Something like
that's
that, yeah.
actually split up into 7 categories where it's like man versus nature, man versus man, man versus animal, like, you know, that sort of thing. And
No,
so
it's man versus building, man versus bus, man versus computers.
and if you go up to right, and then if you go into the 20th century, you get Jaws, Matrix, Jurassic Park, you know, whatever, like that sort of thing. And I'll tell you, I saw there was a
We don't really
movie-
have those anymore, do we? We don't have like I don't as far as movie reviews go, I don't see those blurbs said much anymore. Like no one goes like, well, Captain America 3 was this crossed with this.
right. Yeah, no, I
You
used to
know?
do those types of reviews. What's up, Dagger Love? How are
Hey,
you?
Dagger.
You know, we don't really get that. We don't
What is
really get that
Exorcist
too
3?
often.
Exorcist 3 is like
Exorcist?
the Exorcist crossed with 7.
No, the Exorcist 3 is Exorcist crossed with Child's Play.
See, I don't agree there. You're just saying that
Yes.
because of Durf. You're just saying that because of Durf.
No, not just because of Durf, because the plot
think-
is literally a guy getting possessed.
Yeah, but the plot is also a procedural of a serial killer.
But what's so cool, again, it's like Blatty is like, okay, we've already done possession by a demon. So what if now the
He's possessed
demon
by a human soul?
that the demon is getting revenge on whatever humanity or whatever by possessing another human with a serial killer? That is fucking cool. And that is
Also,
you know, similar
like
to Child's Play.
it's one of those things where like we find out what happened right after the first movie, whereas
Yes.
where a serial killer was literally being given the death penalty at the
Right.
same time that Father Karras jumps out the window and like Pazuzu basically guides his soul into his body. Like all that shit was happening. And
Like,
it's
hey,
canon.
motherfucker. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, motherfucker, fuck you.
Yeah. I was like, or like Pazuzu's like, hey, you want to keep going? Come on with me.
Yeah, he's like, my friend said my work wasn't done yet.
Hey man, I'll give you a priest body. How about that?
You know what would have been
okay.
a cooler reveal? A cooler reveal would have just been to reverse it. Started off with Brad Dourif just to bury. I'm always for burying the lead. Maybe that's what. Maybe that hurts me when I try to tell stories. I'm all for burying the lead as long as possible
It
and
can
then
be
giving a
confusing,
reveal.
Jeff.
I just think that it's really nice. I think it's really, really nice that like if we saw Brad Dourif first and then the reveal is that actually it's Damien. You know what I mean? That would have been a lot cooler than seeing Damien first and then seeing Brad Dourif. I guess either way it's confusing, but at least it's like you're hiding.
Remember, you did see like the director's cut is that. So
gotcha. Well, it's you know what it is? It's like I just kind of want to see like the reverse. I guess I just want to see the reverse. Oh, you know what it is?
You need to watch the director's cut. I think a lot of your answers will get with that, like from what you want there.
But Damien becomes a twist. If you do it that way, if you put Brad Dourif first, Damien becomes a reveal, a twist.
Right, but in the mechanics of the story, that person that is in that cell cannot look like the Gemini killer. Brad Dourif is the body of the Gemini killer that was executed. He cannot look like
the audience. Yes, but you're correct. But the audience, the audience doesn't know that, or that doesn't matter for the audience.
It could be changed, sure, but Father Karras looks like Father Karras.
Right, but the point is that George C. Scott is still seeing Father Karras when the audience is seeing Brad Dourif. So it's a twist for the audience, not for the character, and that still is viable.
It's viable, but also, like I said, so much. This went through so much hell. The fact that it got even there, it did. Yeah, it literally stopped a man from making movies. So,
which is sad.
Which is sad. But here's the thing, Jeff. We talk about it right now, and we saw some comments about it. This movie has gotten so much new cult love now. It's got the new, media releases and everything. People love Exorcist 3 now. Like it found its place. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
it
what,
did
that's
its
what's happening. You found it.
Halloween 3.
You weren't
Yeah.
even an Exorcist big fan, and now you
No.
found it. Like it's people love this movie. So
By the way, Halloween 3, the new Halloween 3, I think it's the best of the new Halloween trilogy.
why are
I
you
like
breaking
it.
this up? Why,
I just
what
want
are
to say
you
that I
doing?
like
Why
it.
are you? Why do you want to talk about Halloween Ends?
I'm not. I'm just saying that I really like it. And
I like
we
it
didn't
too.
talk about it. I'm saying I like it. I think it was good. I think that it did something daring. It was great all the way up until the final act. Then it just
I have
lost it for
my
me.
unconventional ranking. My ranking for that trilogy is so unconventional because it's literally probably the
In
opposite.
order.
No,
It's in order.
No. I loathe 2018. So that would be last for me. And Kills would probably be first because it's insane. It's so nuts. Like I don't really care that much, but like Kills to me is funny. It's really funny.
You definitely care because to rank Kills first and Halloween 2018 last, you care. Somewhere in your heart, you care.
I think I've even said on your channel why I hate 2018, but Kills to me it's terrible. It is bad, but it's entertaining as hell to watch, and I don't even
Ends does what Legion does. It does it.
I like Ends. I didn't
all the way up until the end when they get rid of Corey. When Corey goes away is when I was like, oh boy, like it just goes so far downhill. I was so the movie just it was flying off the rails, but it was
Didn't
still
you already
holding
do
together.
a review episode on it?
I did, but we're at an hour now. It's like it's over. This review is over for me. I'm done with it.
Nothing in that trilogy is as interesting to me as Anthony Michael Hall looking like he's on speedballs, screaming
Pumpkin pies tonight.
How can you not appreciate how all out he went in that movie and how that movie makes
and then they
no
killed
sense.
him. They killed him. It was so stupid.
God, just the fact that Laurie Strode spends the whole time in a hospital. I'm like, who the fuck?
Actually, I think the Halloween trilogy, if you want to pound for pound, I think the Halloween trilogy flies apart just as bad as the new Star Wars trilogy. I think it's
disparate. It's very disparate.
And I'm talking about as a trilogy, the idea that this is an arcing story. I mean, it really, especially from Kills to Ends, like he goes supernatural in Kills, and then he's just working around a sewer. Again, I love Ends. I love the Corey story. Was my favorite part of the new Halloween series. I'm like, great. You're giving us a brand new fucking
I don't want
killer.
you to think I don't
this
like.
Is cool. I'm for it.
I genuinely like Ends. I do, but Kills is the worst movie of the three. Easily.
And it's your favorite.
Easily, yes, favorite. Because I don't fucking care about any of this. And like I loved what Halloween Ends was doing. It's nice, it's nuts in its own right. But like Kills to me, number one,
it's brash.
It's brash, it's stupid, and everyone is screaming constantly. And just out of their mind. I was like, I remember when I first sat down to watch it, I was like, are we being punked by David Gordon Green? Like, are Danny McBride and David Gordon Green trolling us? Like, it's that kind. And that's
how I felt during The Last Jedi when Luke drinks green milk. I actually
you just want to.
No, I'm not trying to argue with you. You remember my friend Nate Dogg? Remember my friend that you met Nate Dogg?
Yes.
Okay, so Nate Dogg and I went to see The Last Jedi together, and we both physically turned to each other when he drank the green milk from the walrus nipples. Yeah, and he scowls.
I love that part.
I love it too. It's like literally the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
but also in like trying to watch the follow up to this in this new trilogy. We both looked at each other and we were like, is this real? Like, do we really both just see, is this real? Is this like,
that didn't even affect me. Your reaction to that, I had none of that. To me, that was perfectly fine. It didn't mean anything.
It's great, but I'm not saying it's not great. I'm just saying
it's not weird at all. It's not, it's absolutely not weird.
That for Nate Dogg has not seen anything Star Wars since The Last Jedi because of that movie. He is, I love Nate Dogg so much because he's such a passionate supporter and lover of things, and he holds them to such scrutiny. He holds them to such ideals that he feels like embody like the soul of the thing that it is. And when it deviates from that, he feels personally betrayed and then is like, I'm done. Like he won't read Marvel anymore. No, he won't read Spider-Man anymore because of Brand New Day. Brand New Day made him stop reading Spider-Man. He was like, I'm done. I'll never read another Spider-Man again because of the reset, because they save Aunt May's life and reset everything. It was one of these grand resets. It was a terrible arc. I hated Brand New Day too.
I don't think I read it. So
you know what? It didn't stop me from reading Spider-Man, but I'll tell you, today I'm not reading any Spider-Man. So what does that say about it? So
I don't read comics anymore.
Yeah, I don't read comics either. Oh, I do, but
so I don't.
I read the occasional comic. I do not keep up with comics. It's impossible. You can't do it. It's physically and financially impossible. You just can't do it.
I mean, I'll definitely slow down on stuff when it disappoints me. Like after Rise of Skywalker, I'm less excited for basically all Star Wars. I haven't watched Andor yet.
Good thing.
Well, I hate Rogue One a lot, so I don't really have interest in that. But I hear everyone
give us a Jabba the Hutt show. Like, where's their Jabba the Hutts, man? I mean, they show that we see some Jabba the Hutt stuff, and I'm like,
what would that even be, though?
Oh man, it would be Goodfellas with fucking Hutts.
It'd probably be like awesome. Eddie Murphy's The Clumps, you know, like.
And you know what else? We talked about this, I think, briefly on Twitter. Give us Primal, but with Ewoks. That would be just like
they're not doing
fucking.
That's too good.
Obviously, they're not going to do that, but give it to me.
You know what my problem is like whenever there's something like Obi-Wan happens and everyone complains what a mess it was, and it was. And then
really, I liked it a lot.
I liked Obi-Wan a lot.
I thought it was good.
I thought it had a lot of messy elements to it, though. A lot of mess.
Yeah.
And then Andor comes out, and I read the reviews like, this is the Star Wars. Whenever I read, this is like the Star Wars we've been waiting for because it takes itself seriously and all this. I'm like, just because something doesn't take itself seriously doesn't inherently mean it's bad, and that angers me. It's so
Luke drinking green milk does not take itself seriously, but that's not what makes, in my opinion, that bad.
Well, it's not
just
bad.
that it's just this super jarring, like cutaway to Luke.
I mean, if Nate Dogg was on, I don't want to ever do it with Star Wars podcast with Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg, you're cool. We've done this, but like, I would argue with him about the original trilogy. Like, if you're holding those to that standard, you're wrong. Like, absolutely. Like, he can attack me, whatever. But like, the original trilogy is made for kids. They're kids' movies.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, they just are, and we have all grown up forgetting that.
I can't speak for Nate Dogg. He would agree with you. He would absolutely agree with you.
Well,
that's not the issue. I don't think.
Right. Well, then I don't understand how that is such an egregious.
You know what it was?
Sin.
It was egregious. I can't tell you why it was egregious.
It's not egregious
for some
at all.
reason.
You know what's egregious is killing Chewbacca and then bringing him back in the next scene. That's fucking egregious.
Wait, when does he die in the new?
In Rise of Jeff?
Does he die in Rise of Skywalker?
No, the audience is told that he's dead, and then he's not in the next scene. The filmmaking is utter garbage ass.
I don't remember.
Trash bullshit.
Shit. No. We've woken up.
Because you should hate this movie, and you not hating it is fucking disgusting to me. It's like. Anyone who doesn't hate it,
Bob
should
hates that I don't mind Rise of Skywalker.
Everyone
you know why?
Hate Rise of Skywalker.
Hold on, I'm not going to go. We're not going down this road because it's a dark road. But I will say one thing. I'm going to say one sentence, and then I will not speak of it again. Here's the one sentence. Ready? One sentence. The reason why I don't mind Rise of Skywalker. Because I see this is supposed to be an arc of movies that starts with Force Awakens and is supposed to finish with something, however messy and gnarled and messed up it is. I liked that JJ tried to at least sort of put things back in a Hail Mary, in his own kind of way. Like, I feel like I felt better about Luke.
This is way longer than a sentence.
I'm just saying I felt better about Luke.
I think your take on Luke is horrible. That Luke scene is yes.
My take on Luke?
Yes.
Dude,
it's
that scene made me feel better about Luke because that's what I wanted Luke to do in The Last Jedi, and he didn't do it.
God,
so that made me feel.
I hate that movie more than I think like on my
Yes,
list of
Bob,
top 5
feel
hated
the
movies.
hate, Bob.
I would
It flows through you, Bob.
if I could turn Rise of Skywalker into an anthropomorphic being, I would happily kill it. I would happily murder it. Like I would eat like happily.
All right, I will say that I will say this
like,
about Rise of Skywalker right here and now.
It's in focus. How's that?
Everything involving Leia in Rise of Skywalker
that's awful.
is beyond awful. It's like the most insulting, atrocious thing that they could have possibly done. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's really bad.
Jeff,
I will say that.
I know no one listens to me when I say this, but the fact that Rise of Skywalker was like when they were imagine making a movie like Rise of Skywalker after The Last Jedi, and you're like, you know what? I want an entire climactic scene with space horses. Well, we just established all these space horses. Let's find new space horses.
What's wrong with space horses or new space horses?
You've already established the space horses in the last movie. You don't have to have new ones with a bunch of characters we don't care about. Oh my God, it's such bad everything.
Oh, you know what? The way that your attitude towards the new space horses.
That is not equivalent. That is not equivalent to the blue milk at all. That is not even remotely
Yes,
equivalent.
it is.
No, because what I'm saying is they established it in the movie before and they throw it all out the fucking window and they have to reestablish a new space horse thing. What? That is such bad filmmaking and writing, Jeff. You're better than that. You could have made a way better movie than most people we know. Even the worst filmmakers, me and you know, the ones who we know have no talent, could do better than that fucking movie. That fucking movie is below so many people. It's ridiculous.
Bob,
it's absolutely absurd.
We both can agree. On the fact that this should have been an overarching 3 movies that all flow into each other.
Everyone agrees with that. Everyone agrees.
So I'm saying, and it doesn't.
Right.
No matter what redeeming qualities we find individually, whether it's in scenes, concepts, or movies themselves.
I disagree because I hate The Force Awakens, but The Force Awakens is a fine put together movie. It makes sense. The script is fine. I just dislike the ideas, and that's different than my problems with Rise of Skywalker, which is like a baby wrote it. It's literally like Jeff, there's things in it that are just inherently lazy and terrible, like killing a character as a trick and then bringing him back in the very next scene. There's no tension there.
What about C-3PO?
Awful, absolutely awful death.
It's funny.
He's surrounded by a bunch of new characters that he doesn't care about. His death is shit, and then he's brought back.
Yeah,
3 people are killed in this movie. They're brought back.
It surprises me that you have more of a problem with the Chewbacca thing than you would the C-3PO thing, because I feel like the C-3PO thing is like it's like a smack in the face, if anything, of all the things.
Jeff, C-3PO is a smack in the face of 40 years of fandom. His death is that. Chewbacca's is a smack in the face of anyone who is a fan of tension, writing, execution. It has nothing to do with Star Wars. It is like JJ. This is embarrassing. This is like a film school student did this.
Well, wait a minute. What about this longer? Supposedly, there's a longer, different cut of Rise of Skywalker, and that what we saw was actually mangled by Kathleen Kennedy. Is that true or is that false? I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm not talking about that. I don't know if that exists. So
it's under my impression that the actual cut that JJ put together is far different than what the studio released, and that somewhere out there there's a different cut that is even better.
Go and watch anything with JJ talking about Rise of Skywalker during the press tour, and you know what? I mean, I'm almost positive JJ doesn't like the movie. Like he's asked.
He definitely does not. He definitely does not.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
But neither does Neither Mark Hamill, who I think is perfectly aligned with Luke Skywalker and Luke Skywalker's sensibilities.
He's not a writer, and he also admitted he loves it now, so it doesn't matter.
When did he admit? He admitted that he likes it now.
Absolutely, 1000% has said that. Yes.
Maybe dude, he fucking there's compilations.
And he's not a fucking writer, Jeff. He's not a writer. It doesn't matter. He's not a filmmaker or a writer.
I think he is a filmmaker. Bob, he is a filmmaker.
Nope. He is an actor, and that's who
comic
he is.
Book guy. He directed a movie called Comic Book Guy. It's a good movie. It's a mockumentary.
No, it's not.
It's
not. It's funny to some degree. But
I really enjoyed that.
He
Hold
is
on.
not. He is not a fucking filmmaker nor a storyteller, in
Mark
my opinion. So
Hamill.
you whatever.
But as
And
an actor, is he not a storyteller? Is he not telling the story
No.
as an actor? He's part of the process.
No,
He's
I don't agree that
bringing
makes
the
him a
character to
storyteller.
life.
I'm just saying, Jeff, one of those filmmakers is
Yeah.
proud of his movie and still talks about it to this day. Another one will never speak about it again because he is not a moron and he knows exactly what he did. And you can't argue with me because it's a fact. If you can show me him talking about it gleefully now, which you can't,
Who,
you
JJ?
cannot prove it. JJ, you cannot find anything about. He'll never speak about Rise of Skywalker again. Because if you watch him during the press tour, he's just like, people are going to think what they're going to think, and it is what it is. He sounds like he's Trump. I'm not equating him to Trump, but he sounds like he's Trump just talking about like, it is what it is. I can't do anything about what happened. It just did.
think, you know what I hope? I hope that here's a good way to, so he directed something called Comic Book the Movie, which I have, and it was good.
I've seen it. It's funny. It's
good. It's a movie. And
that doesn't make me think he has any authority on that stuff.
Fine,
he
but
has changed his mind anyway, so it doesn't
but he's
matter.
an actor for 40 years who wrote and directed a movie that makes him a filmmaker.
Jeff, you sound like one of the incels on fucking Twitter, dude. You do.
Come on, Bob.
No, I mean, he has literally stated he was wrong. He has said I was wrong.
All right, well, that you're gonna, when we get off here, you're gonna send me where that is, because I can't find that anywhere. I want to see that.
That is so easy to find. That is so easy to find.
We'll find it. Well, he did the new Scooby-Doo movie Adventures. He did additional voices back in '72. I did not realize that.
He is a voice actor. I mean,
well, yes, he's a voice actor, but I didn't know he was doing Scooby-Doo before he did Star Wars. In any case, now I forgot what I was going to say about
saying that an actor knows the best thing for characters is insane to me, and that is a bad path to go down. That is something that people that I hate online say.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Movies.
You're telling me that an actor that brings a character to life and has brought a character to life and has created their own inner workings for a character doesn't have like a say or understanding or a voice or any sort of insight into that character?
Not very much.
They have to understand.
I mean, Jeff, Luke Skywalker isn't even that complex in the original trilogy. Come on, this is not that. the backlash to that movie painted his actual depth in the original trilogy made me actually laugh. Look, Luke Skywalker is great and all, but he is not some type of cavernous, interesting character. He just isn't. He's not. He is not. So saying like he knows this character and stuff, sure he might, but there's not that much to know.
But I still consider, I don't think that takes away from him not being some sort of authority on a character that he brought to life. He originated the character and brought him to life.
He's still not a storyteller, and he admitted that he was wrong.
It's
literally in the documentary on the DVD, dude. Like the making of the whole full length movie, it's literally there.
Mark Hamill, wrong about new Star Wars.
Well, that's not what you type in. Do you want to do this on stream? Is anyone even
No. No, I'll take a look at it later. The point is, bottom line, I don't know if there is a bottom line.
I'll never budge, so it doesn't matter because
I am most certainly not trying to convince you of anything.
There's very few things I will legitimately say objectively are true when talking about art, but the Rise of Skywalker being objectively terrible, I'll happily say. Like it's that I hate it that much, and it's that objectively awful. Like I truly fucking hate it.
Brian agrees with you. He says, "Thank you, Bob. No amount of editing could have saved that half-ass script."
Yes, thank you, Brian.
You guys will have me wanting to watch Galactic Empire music videos instead. Mark Hamill is brilliant. Mark Hamill is whomever he wants to be.
Mark Hamill is brilliant. I love Mark Hamill. That's not what I was arguing.
I think Mark Hamill has. What's up, Michelle? How are you? I think Mark Hamill, if Mark Hamill came to me and was like, "This is what Luke Skywalker is about," I wouldn't be like, "No, you don't know what you're talking about because you didn't write the character," that sort of thing. I think he has a somewhat of like a say in the same way that like Bryan Cranston could tell you a thing or two about Walter White, whether he wrote Walter White or not.
I wouldn't trust Bryan Cranston to write one episode of the show.
I think that it's not about writing an episode of the show or not. I think just Bryan Cranston has to have some sort of understanding of the character to bring him to life. And I think on that level, Mark Hamill, whether Luke Skywalker is
just so
shallow
everyone
or not,
in the chat, I'm doing this on Jeff's show, so I apologize, but everyone should know I am literally sending Jeff 3 different instances right now.
I'm getting them.
Yeah, right. Where he literally says everything I've been saying. I just want to point that out.
Listen, I'm not here to argue against your point. The only thing I'm saying is that I think that Mark Hamill, as someone who's brought that character to life multiple times over the years,
he knows more than we do. How's that?
Yeah. So I think that
he knows more than we do, but he is not inherently a storyteller or a director.
Fine, but I still think that gives him a weighted input into Star Wars on some level. And that is what I'm saying. That's literally all I'm saying.
Okay, but he admits he was wrong and he regrets even saying anything.
Well, I'm sure he regrets ever saying anything.
Well,
and there are compilations of you could see Kathleen Kennedy losing her fucking mind when Mark Hamill is speaking out during Last Jedi stuff, which, to be fair, it's like, hey, we just put all this money.
You know what though? The internet is a bunch of fucking babies because like that was him telling an interesting tale about the making of the movie, where he's saying, when I initially sat down to read the script, it fundamentally was against everything I thought Luke Skywalker was, and he's trying to tell.
Oh, that's not what I'm referring to.
I know, but he's trying to tell us an interesting. I'm referring to that. He's telling an interesting story about the process of making the movie,
right?
But every time he says that, he says, and then what I saw the finished product, and I regret saying that. That's what he's trying to say. He was an interesting making of anecdote about him reading the script. It's not.
There's just I've seen a compilation, a couple of them actually. They're on YouTube where it's during the Last Jedi.
They were edited by assholes. Yes, I know. I've seen
where
them.
He's just
edited by people you would hate.
Sure.
Jeff, these are people that you would literally loathe.
Listen,
that edited those things.
Mind you, I love Star Wars as much as the next guy, but
sure,
all of it to me is it's it's Star Wars. It's not that serious, So
I've hated J.J. Abrams' Star Wars since day one. Ever since Chewbacca didn't hug Leia, I was like, this guy doesn't know Star Wars, because that is insane to me that they didn't.
On brand. You've been on brand with your hatred for this new trilogy in the same way that I have been on brand for The Dark Knight from Christopher Nolan's Batman.
Oh, I've been there too. Universe. I hate that trilogy.
It's not that I even hate the trilogy. I just really hate movies. The Dark Knight. I like Batman Begins okay, but
it's fine. Batman Begins is the best one.
But The Dark Knight is just so. I literally thought I was crazy at one point. I was like, oh, is everybody? Or I thought everybody was mad. I'm like, is everybody in the world mad that they think that this is Batman or that this is good? This is ridiculous. I mean, it just goes against the common core. Talking about that, and then speaking from that point of view, in that, forget about Christopher Nolan, in that, Christian Bale, who's bringing Batman to life, and Batman's a character that's existed for how many fucking decades, and now here's a dude bringing it in and coming to him, being like, "What's your thought process with this, and how does that work?" I feel like you're not giving the actor enough weight in the creative process in this realm. Yes, they might not be writers and directors, but I feel like they do have some.
I'm in an argument with you. I'm in an argument with you. So I'm saying in
I don't think we're in a. This is an.
Well, I'm in an argument about Last Jedi, but I'm saying in the end, he does have some. His input is obviously one of the most valuable on Earth when it comes to that character. But when it comes to making a film or making anything like that, he is not in those roles, and it is not his business. If he has every right to not be in the movie, not take the job, but he's not. Mark Hamill himself said, "I am not a storyteller." He has said that because of this problem.
So I'll give you a counter. Here's one counter. What about Ellen Ripley and Sigourney Weaver? and she's a producer, and she is
Did
not
Sigourney
really a
Weaver write those
filmmaker.
sequels?
No, but I just
She's
mean
a
that
producer, Jeff. She's not a director and a writer.
no, but
Is
the
she
point
writing the
is
scripts?
the point is that if you don't think that she didn't have some sort of input into the character, or wanting to guide the character.
Sure.
Same thing with
but-
Sydney, same thing with Nev Campbell and Sidney Prescott, although I think she was misguided. I think that was just about money, really, at the end of the day. Not
Everyone
this
you've
recent
mentioned
one.
is a famous Hollywood personality who's probably a great producer. They're not writers and directors.
But that's not what I'm saying, Bob. I'm saying that they probably have input into their character. That's all I'm saying.
Usually when those things take hold and when they start taking guide of their character, it gets worse too. I want to point that out. It usually gets worse.
That is actually okay. That is a good point,
right?
And actually speaks to both of those things I just said.
Yeah. Remember when Bruce Willis started to become John McClane, and you make the movies because I'm John McClane, and then you get the last two Die Hard movies. Like, things get worse when the actor becomes an executive producer and tries to guide it.
Yes,
because
I will
because they can't see the forest for the trees.
I will concede on this, and perhaps if Mark Hamill was had the steering wheel, perhaps maybe that could happen.
We can't know. I feel like I feel like this whole thing came off like I don't love Mark Hamill to death. I do, but
no, I see you. I see you arguing. You are passionately arguing a point that that puts a very big divider between actors and writer directors. That's what I hear from you.
I do not.
If I'm hearing you correctly.
Yes. No, that's what I'm saying. Is Mark Hamill. I'm using his own words, Jeff. He literally did say this. He said, "I am not a storyteller."
I'm not denying that. I'm just thinking of, you know what it is? I'm thinking about what I wanted from Luke Skywalker and what I wanted from Star Wars as an audience member, as a fan, and as a casual fan or whatever, and hearing Mark Hamill's thoughts on the matter when he was speaking out via Outburst, that aligned.
I still say he wasn't speaking out. He was telling
whatever he was doing.
But I think that's really important. He was telling an interesting anecdote about his thoughts in the process. He wasn't saying it was a definitive end thought.
Whatever he was saying, fine. Whatever
he was saying, that is what happened.
Whatever he was saying aligned with what I wanted.
Well, that disappoints me because I love you and I think better of you.
That I wanted Luke Skywalker to never give up.
You wanted him to be just a boring fucking caricature.
No, but he's
just a boring nothing.
But we don't get. But you want to know something? In The Last Jedi, I don't think we get.
We're going to disagree. I mean, we are. So don't even say it.
We don't get it, Bob. We don't get it. We don't get enough.
We do.
Don't get enough why, Bob. I don't get enough why.
That's okay. Look, here, I'm going to read this.
Go ahead.
I regret voicing my doubts and insecurities in public. Creative differences are a common element of any project, but usually remain private. All I wanted to do was make a good movie. I got more than that. Ryan made an all-time great one. I just sent you that. Sent you that.
But in all honesty,
don't be an incel on Twitter and say that
I'm not being an incel. Nothing.
I know.
All I'm saying is I'm really not. I'm really not.
But I'm saying if you're gonna tell me they made him say that,
no, that's not what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I'm asking a rhetorical question.
Yes.
Does that sound like a statement from a guy speaking from a personal place, or does that sound like
sounds like a tweet that you wrote because you wanted to be sincere? He's not
I don't know. When I heard you
what you're doing right now is you're questioning if it's sincere right now. That's what you're doing. Now we both can't prove or not if it's sincere, but the only thing we have to live with the fact that Mark Hamill's words, public words, are sincere and honest. Taking those words for sincere and honesty, that's what he means, right? I mean, we can't prove that he can't be like, oh, well, he doesn't mean that. I mean, he said it publicly. I mean, what do you want?
Come on. Well, people say things publicly that they need to say publicly. You know, I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't think you can necessarily. What's the word? What's the phrase I'm thinking of? It's a saying. at when you look at something and see it's on the tip of my tongue. What's a thing when you see something that at face value? I don't necessarily think that you could take that statement at face value when I've seen other instances, I don't know with everything else he said in the past. That's all.
I don't know. Just like you're basically saying that he was saying it for a PR reason. After the movie has been released too.
I'm saying that
there's no money loss involved in that statement.
I'm saying that for whatever reason, you know what? I'm not saying it was necessarily, maybe he just felt that it was the right thing to do.
I mean, you're also questioning Mark Hamill's integrity by saying he would say that.
No, I'm not. I don't think so. I think that he wanted to uphold a sense of
just
professionalism.
Admit he fucking said it, and he meant it, dude. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Mark Hamill loves The Last Jedi. He said it's a great movie. I mean, what do you want? If he didn't say it, I wouldn't be here saying that to you. I would not even remotely push this if he didn't. I mean, I'd have nothing to stand on.
I just personally think, and again, like I said, I'm not.
Jeff, also what we argued right before this, where I was saying is, even if he didn't say it, I'm not sure how much his opinion holds with me, because I don't view him as a filmmaker or a writer.
And I think that is primarily where we disagree. That's weird
to me. That's weird to me. I mean, I would say the same thing about like Sigourney Weaver and an Alien movie, even the bad ones or something. Like, I mean, if she said this movie is not how I viewed Ripley, and I thought the movie was excellent, I'd be like, well, you're not the filmmaker of that.
You know
movie.
what it is? I'll tell you. You know what it is? I think I personally just think that I've had actors come up to me and tell me that the thing that I have written is not the right thing. They say, that's not what my character would say. My character would actually say it like this, or my character would do this. And I'm the guy who fucking wrote the character. I'm the guy who came up with the thing, not you. But they have been in this collaboration. They're bringing the character to life, and they have their own thought process and what I've seen them do thus far has been very valid to me. And now they're coming to me and saying, that's not how this character would say this. They would say it like this. And I think that blah, blah, blah.
And then Hamill said that they had extensive conversations about it. He did.
It's an example. I'm just using it as
an example. I know, but I'm saying it's not like it there was no,
but that's my point about like how like an actor might have a little weight in the creative process of,
okay, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did have that, but in the end, he ended up agreeing.
Yeah,
like he agreed before, and I think the thing is that the compilations you saw, they cut out the after part of him talking every time.
I will say this about compilations in general, and
they're very misleading.
No, they take things out of context,
yeah,
and I'm not. I want to say that I should have said this when I brought up the compilation in the first place. They do take things out of context for sure. But at the same time, I just, the energy that I've sort of, seen, or the vibe that I've sort of gotten from the whole situation was just that, that clearly there was some sort of conflict or some sort of, tension or clash there in thought processes. And
which is normal for movies.
Yeah, totally normal.
To me, I just saying I don't care that much if he didn't like it. But since everyone apparently does, there's plenty of proof to the contrary.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what else? Absolutely, I agree with you on, or that you have absolutely given me more food for thought to think about in the idea that you are right. By rule of thumb, usually when a star takes over the creative, by the creative driving wheel, it always veers off.
It usually gets true. Worse because they usually can't see what made it great. They can just see themselves.
Right. And that's the problem. That's a great point. However, Hamill, from what I've seen, and again, I'm just speaking from
I'm not saying Hamill. I don't think he was even trying to do that.
I don't think he was either. But my point is that Hamill, I think whatever pushback Hamill might have given in a situation like that,
Sure.
I don't think it would have been necessarily ego driven. I think it would have, and you were talking about integrity. I think it would have come from a place of integrity of like, hey, this is like, you know, I've been with this character for this many years and like, this doesn't feel right to me. And I'm just want, you know, I want to help you tell the best story possible. And
I guess
here's
what I'm saying to you is that they have said they talked about it extensively.
They did. And you know what?
Him and Ryan Johnson, they came to the conclusion they did.
And Hamill has said multiple times publicly, that that he's always Hamill has always acknowledged that they are the filmmaker and that they, you know, that this is where they want to go and that, you know, so I mean,
why I brought it up. That's why I brought it up.
But I don't think, but I think in a closed, door scenario behind the scenes, if you were just having, you know, I don't drink alcohol, but if I did drink, if you and Hamill were drinking some whiskey on the rocks and just casually talking, you've been talking all night for hours and having a really good conversation, and you peeled the onion back, and maybe Hamill would be like, it's not how I would have done it. Fuck, you know, like, why did they go that route? This is how they should have gone.
Well, number one,
blah, blah, blah.
No, you're just, that's all. I mean, you can't prove that.
Of course, I'm not. I'm creating
also,
a scenario.
Right. But what I'm saying is the difference between us is I'm saying if he did say that, I'd be like, I don't care what you think. You're an actor and you're a great actor pulling off a role.
And they might have said that. That's might be what Ryan Johnson and JJ said to him. Hey, I don't care if you're on the last page of the fucking script.
Right.
That's it. Fuck you.
But I'm saying the difference between the two of us in this discussion, is that I don't care. I'm just saying that there is proof that he did like it. That we can't read minds and we can't like travel time and space to prove otherwise. So
no, we can't.
You have to go by what he said publicly and take his integrity for what it is.
What and furthermore, this episode really should be now split into 2 episodes.
I mean, you can. I'm sorry you brought it up. You're the one who brought it up. I didn't bring
up
Star Wars.
Bob, I'm not angry or blaming you for anything. This was terrific. I love this shit.
So like
this is great.
I'm actually known with my friends for liking movies too much. So it's very rare. Like, I mean, honestly, you mentioned the ones that I hate. I hate the Nolan trilogy and I hate The Rise of Skywalker.
We align in a lot of places.
But I'm saying, like, this is the rare opportunity for me to like hate a movie vehemently. Like, I don't really hate movies ever.
I know. I actually love that you hate it vehemently. It makes me. I love that.
That's like
you
the
hate
one
it.
thing I hate. I hate it. I really hate it.
I love that you hate it.
And I grew to hate it because if you listen to my podcast on it, it's not really filled with hate. It's like a very nuanced takedown of the script. But I'm not passionate about it. But as the years have gone by, the power of Rue, but
Pazuzu has possessed us into the spirit of debate. But this is good podcasting. This is good. This is what it's all about, baby. This is what this is the good thing. Man.
Star Wars. Talking about Star Wars now is so lame. At this point.
It's lame, but you know, on some level, whether you want to admit it or not, and I'm saying you, I'm putting you somewhere deep down inside, you do love Star Wars. It is like
it angers me that Star Wars
tribal sports level team, like this is your sports team on some level, because I see the passion in you.
It's painful to me. That's how it all ended.
Right.
If I hate that movie that much, it's painful to me. It all ended like that.
Right.
And so I'm just like, Jesus, man, like this was the end, you know? And I care, like there's certain franchises, like, I mean, you saw Jurassic World Dominion. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that, but that I can deal with bad Jurassic Park movies. Like I never expect Jurassic Park movies to be good.
Jurassic Park for me ends at the end of the Lost World. Really. So
I don't want to really talk about Jurassic. I
know, but I'm just saying that.
But what I'm saying is that it's not the same as Star Wars, though, where Star Wars is like about writing and it's about the story of this family and these characters and stuff. And to drop a ball as hard as I see it was dropped, it like retroactively a little bit ruins the entire thing. It poisons the whole pond for me.
Because when you watch those movies,
whereas
now,
Jurassic World
Dominion,
you can't ruin Jurassic Park, the first one, for me ever. You could make the sequels could literally do anything, and I'd be like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't matter. But with Star Wars, man, that just bringing the Emperor back and there's a lot of stuff where I'm just like, oh God.
Well, you know what
I
is
hate
interesting?
it so much.
It's funny you bring that up. All right, 1 second. It's funny. I'll be just a second. It's funny you bring that up, actually, because I have to go in 2 seconds. This is about 34 minutes over what we were supposed to do anyway.
Sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. This was amazing. I love this debate. This shit's awesome, Bob.
Okay.
Stop.
Good.
Stop.
Well,
Fine,
I mean, I'm
good.
sorry for going so long. That's what I meant.
That's okay. Bob, I'm always happy when you go long.
Okay.
So again, because I could tell, even as you are passionately, and I could see like how deeply this means to you on some level. It doesn't, and frankly, it doesn't mean the same to me on that level. I mean, obviously, I grew up with Star Wars and childhood and stuff, but I can tell that we both have different relationships with these movies. However,
you should hear me talk about Indy 4 sometime.
Oh my God. Well, I actually like that one, but let's not go there.
Oh boy.
I like Indy 4.
And I don't dislike it because of the CG or anything. So
okay. We will talk about Indy 4 sometime. But no, Bob, here's what I'm saying. Like
that hurt more than Star Wars.
I do. How about this? I do empathize with your point of view, even though it's more trivial for me, because I feel the same way about the Scream movies, even though the Scream movies don't even mean as much to me as I think Star Wars might mean to you. Again, and these are just things
Probably,
here, let me just. What I mean is,
yeah,
just the idea that as we talked about in our threequel episode, everything wraps up so perfectly in Scream 3, and by having a Scream 4 and Scream 5, it's like even though I can stop at Scream 3, like it's still out there. Like I still know that Dewey's gonna die. I still know, like Jeff, it's still there.
Indiana Jones literally rides off into the sunset at the end of Last Crusade.
Yeah,
it's like
it's perfect.
God, why did that ever need to be touched? You know what though? It's like it's just a matter of care. It's like I would only act like this on a podcast. You know what I mean? Like if we want to have the discussion about in real life, Rise of Skywalker, I don't care as much. Like, but on a podcast, I'll let it out. Like, because I can, because here we're hyper focused on media, and media mattering. But in real life, does it really matter that I view the entire Star Wars lineage as destroyed? Not really.
No, but we both. Look, how about this? We both passionately love movies. We both love arguing about movies. We both love discussing movies. We are rabid sports fans, but for movies.
It's a huge part of
right. And so I see right now as having this discussion, one of your home teams has to be Star Wars from my observation. And
it's not as big as you'd assume. I'm way bigger with like Indy or Back to the Future. Like those were way more me when I was a kid.
Well, Back to the Future, perfect trilogy, Left Alone.
I'm waiting for them to ruin that. Like it's going to happen.
I don't think it can.
Spielberg,
you can't remake those movies. Those are unremakeable movies.
I agree, but that doesn't mean they won't try. But Spielberg and Zemeckis have it so basically until they're dead, nobody can touch them.
Right.
But they will die.
You know why Jaws is unremakeable? You know why Jaws is an unremakeable movie?
Because it exists because of the time period and because of the conditions of making it.
I would say even just Quint. You cannot. There's nobody.
You can't have new Quint, right?
You cannot replace Quint with anybody. There's not a single actor, living or dead, who could possibly replace Quint. He is so like integral.
Okay.
Robert Shaw.
I agree. Like you can't, and I can't see anyone wanting to step in those shoes. But there are remakes that are great. There are remakes that surpass.
True.
I don't want to see. To me, remaking Spielberg classics seems.
But there are movies that are unremakeable. Even though that what you just said,
perfect.
There are movies that are unremakeable. You cannot remake these movies. They are unremakeable, and I don't want to reopen.
They're going to try though.
They're going to. But I don't want to reopen this again because we're going to just go in circles because you feel the way you feel, and I've already
said everything.
You've said your piece. I would be remiss not to at least acknowledge both Robert Shaw's contribution and I guess by extension, although Milius wrote the monologue, but what Shaw brought to it as an actor by cutting, he cut from that monologue. He said, Quint's not going to say this. Quint's not going to say that. Because what Milius had written was way longer than what Shaw ended up saying in the thing. And Shaw made the decisions and Spielberg allowed it. And you want to know something? That is storytelling by acting.
Movie, Jeff. Jaws is the first movie too. I mean, I feel like it's a different argument.
What do you mean a first movie?
Jaws that was the first movie in that franchise. I mean, like,
sure, but
I feel like arguing that you're arguing. We were arguing about
that the actor
wasn't he a writer though?
Vital, but he was. But maybe, yeah, he was a playwright.
I think he was a playwright. I was gonna say.
What about Rutger Hauer? Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner. Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner.
I mean, Jeff, you just want me to admit that sometimes the actors can make things better. Sure.
Yes, I want you to admit that sometimes. The word sometimes. My wife is calling. I have to go. My son is upset. I literally have to go.
Okay.
I don't want to because this is such a good. I'm splitting this because this was such a good fucking debate. Like we have to split this. Yes,
if you want to,
it's going to be. I'm going to call it Bob versus Jeff, and it's going to get split because it was just so fucking good.
We've literally talked about this on the channel like 2 years ago.
I know, but you want to know something? I feel like this was like some fucking Rocky Balboa versus what's his face? What the fuck is his name? Carl Weathers.
Apollo Creed.
A little bit like we just finished Rocky 3 and we got back in the ring for a little ding ding, that kind of thing. We'll pick this up again.
Okay,
point being is yes, I want you to admit that sometimes that there are some instances where. And that's the whole basis for my feelings about Hamill. And that's all I wanted to say.
Yes, sometimes an actor can edit a small part of a scene and make it better. You're right.
Only the greatest these great monologues
right,
are considered the greatest monologues of all time.
The difference is what you're saying versus what Hamill's saying. I know you got to go. Yeah. Hamill was basically what you're saying is we should have been like, you know what, Mark Hamill, just rewrite the entire fucking script.
No.
That would be. No. That's what that would be. You got to admit. Yes,
and I wouldn't want that, and I would not want that.
But that's what that would have to be to change what he had a problem with.
However, if you're J.J. Abrams, you're coming into a sandbox that's not your sandbox, a sandbox where Mark Hamill has been in that sandbox for decades, and on some level, in some way, shape, or form, whether he's a writer, director, or not, whatever the divide, the hard divide that you want. The good walls make good neighbors divide that you have in this situation.
The divide that Mark Hamill himself said, yes.
Yes, I'm not denying that. I'm not saying
I'm just
that he doesn't say
I'm
that.
using his words.
Yes, but they're words that you agree with, and that's why. So that's why I'm using you. So okay, so you agree with it. But my point is that on some level, on some intrinsic level, that friggin' that there is, it's like that JJ's going, hey, Mark, like. So this is where we're going with the character, or something that there's some sort of thing, because that's what happens when you're collaborating. I mean, because it is collaboration, even if you have the final say, even if you're calling the shots, you're still collaborating.
Why are you saying that with J.J. Abrams? What does that have to do with?
Well, just because J.J. Abrams wasn't there at the beginning of Star Wars, and that J.J. Abrams is coming into a sandbox that Mark Hamill was already in, whether he's in there as an actor or whether he's in there as a filmmaker, that he was there. And that he is steeped in the character, shallow or not, and that he's been there. And therefore, that Mark Hamill, on some level, whether Mark Hamill has misplaced seniority or not, and I don't actually know these things because I'm not Mark Hamill, but that Mark Hamill, on some level, can come and say and feel comfortable saying, hey, this is how I feel, blah, 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 blah. And on that note, honey, I'm coming now.
Go ahead. Don't get in trouble. Go ahead. It's fine.
All right. This was so much fun. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Sorry for arguing so much.
No, don't apologize, Bob. You have nothing to apologize for. This was amazing.
Just don't bring up Rise of Skywalker and we're good. I mean, basically.
But I don't mind bringing up. I do.
I don't want. You know what? I don't want to talk about Rise.
And I will not bring up Rise of Skywalker, Bob. You'll never hear it out of my mouth again. I love you, Bob. This was fucking awesome. Man. This was great. This was great. It's great. More of this, but no Rise of Skywalker.
No, we've said enough. We've said enough.
Guys, thundergrunt.com. fucking Bob
Just
Rose.
follow me at Thundergrunt.
Yes.
Bob.
All right. I gotta go.
Go,
I gotta
go,
go now.
go,
My
go.
son is upset. Peace and hair grease. Goodbye, everybody. And we're out. Bob, I'm just going to exit the stream.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you.